us up, Fred. You're starting 1 minute late.
Sorry about that.
We good? All right, good evening, Litchfield, and welcome to the October 2nd meeting of the Conservation Commission. We'll start off with a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call. George.
Present.
Joan, present.
Enid McCarthy, present.
Harry Manzugian, member.
Matt Hoffman, present.
And Mike Roto, present.
Jason Brennan, present.
Fred French, present.
All right, great. So we have all our full-time members here, minus our selectman rep, Diane. She's not able to make it tonight. So we're good. So we have some members from the community garden here, so we might mix up the agenda a little bit to let them speak. First of all we have Fran Morgan. Fran, if you'd like to come up, I guess over there and just introduce yourself, give your address, and then Fran's here to talk about the potential of having a beehive at the community garden.
All right, my name's Fran Miranda. Morgan's just a Facebook thing.
Ah, okay.
That's my maiden name,
Okay.
but I prefer that one anyway. I've lived in Litchfield over 30 years. I don't even know the exact number of years, but I've been here a long time. I've watched, everything grow like everybody else has. I'm very much into gardening, nature, birds, bees, obviously, that's why I'm here. I just recently was able to connect with Denise and Diane as far as the community garden's concerned, and have tilled up a plot over there and getting ready for next spring. During that process, we ran into a massive hive of yellow jackets, which was intense. Fortunately, we had our bee equipment and we were able to go on and do what we needed to do. It took probably about a week for those bees to decide to leave, but they had established a very deep nest about 1.5 feet into the ground. They go into mouse holes, vole holes, chipmunk holes, whatever. But the further we dug, the more we found. And it was a very, very dangerous situation if anybody had stumbled into it by accident, or if they were tilling. That wouldn't have been a good thing. Hopefully, whoever does do the tilling over there does use or have protection in the event that you run into a situation where you get stung. I've been stung a number of times, not excessively. Honeybees, they're not after you to sting you. They're not after you at all, really. They're passive. All they want to do is go out and gather nectar and gather pollen and go back to their hive and do what bees do. Without the bees, we're going to be in trouble eventually, unless they come up with genetically modified food, which we all know that we're doing that. And I don't know how you put it, but computer mechanized farming. I mean, they're doing things with drones now, planting seeds with drones and everything else. I'm not going to get into that because I don't have enough knowledge on it. All I do is, I like bees. I've done it for about 8 years. First 2 years were extremely successful. Ran into a little bit of a bump the 3rd year because we didn't get to our hive in time and we had a swarm. That was extremely interesting. We've had a number of swarms, which happens. It's a natural thing. When the bees get too crowded in their house, one bee or the queen bee will decide that it's time we need to move out, and they'll swarm. But it's probably one of the most fantastic things I've ever experienced because it's just electric. and to watch it in process and the concept behind it. And it's just very interesting. Learning about bees, I mean, it's endless. Endless information that the common person or the average person wouldn't even know. I mean, bees are like an army. They all have their own job. Summer bees usually last or will live about 6 weeks, their entire lifetime, that's it. Winter bees or autumn bees going into hibernation, they'll last about 6 months. They're a little bit stronger. They have to go over the winter. They have to hopefully have stores that they can eat off. And temperatures are definitely a concern. Last few years, probably the last 4 or 5 years, we've had some pretty warm days in January and February. And that's dangerous for the bees because they'll break their cluster, which means during the winter they form a cluster and they protect the queen bee, and it's constantly just rotating, and they keep the temperature, I believe, around 98 degrees. But in the winter, when you have a mild day, and the bees decide that they're going to go out and go to the bathroom, basically, is what they do, because who wants to hold it all 3 or 4 months? So sometimes they'll go out. By the time they do their business, the sun's coming down, it's getting cold, they may not make it back to the hive. Or they may make it back to the hive, but they don't get back into the cluster. So the weather is a big thing as far as the survival of the bees as well. The last 2 years, or 2 years ago, let's put it that way, we went into spring hoping that we were going to have another successful year. We bought 2 packages of bees because our bees from the previous year didn't make it because of the winter temperatures. We got off the ground running. It was doing well. The hives were populating. You start with a package, a 3-pound package of bees when you do it this way. When your hives are full, you've probably got about 60 or 70,000 bees in there, and that's a good productive hive. So everything was going well. We had a nice spring, and then we get into June, and obviously, you know, bugs start coming out. And, you know, it was a typical summer, but we also had new neighbors that moved in. And these neighbors spray. They spray for mosquitoes and ticks and whatever else is in there that's doing whatever that does. So our hive, us not knowing of the effects because we were still new as far as how the spraying thing was working, we had no idea that this was going to be a negative. My hives are probably, I'm on 1.5 acres where I am, and I back up into conservation land. So I have my hives back. But the drift of the spray, when I'm in my office in the house because I work remote and my window's open and the guy comes over to spray and I can smell it and I can taste it on my lips, I know that there's an overspray. When he's walking around out there doing what he does with a gas mask on and goggles and all suited up, if it's a safe thing to be doing, why are you dressed like that? I also have chickens too. And when he's aiming his little thing at my chickens, that's attacking my livestock. So we've got a little bit of an arrangement going with him, the person that, or female actually, can do it too, as far as applying the mosquito stuff. But long story short, we lost our hives. We went down to check on them because you should check on them once a week. If you're really good, you should be checking your bees. Sometimes life gets away with you, and it might be a couple of weeks. But when I go down and I open up my hive that was previously very successful, and there's no activity, and I look inside and I've got bees that are dead like this in the bottom of my hives, I know it wasn't just a single varroamite or, you know, a natural incident that happened. I knew that something pretty substantial happened. I put 2 and 2 together. It was the spraying. Okay, well, we lost it. I couldn't confirm it was the spraying because when we spoke with the company, they said, no, it won't harm your bees. I tend to disagree, but that's just my opinion. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, and I have no degrees in anything like that. I just know from experience. So we went into the next year being hopeful, maybe it was just a coincidence, maybe something happened. Same thing happened again. We lost 2 packages of bees. And at that time, $165 a package times 2, plus all your time and your effort and everything else that you put into it, it just became too expensive to do. So that's why I cannot do it where I'm currently living, because I can't control what others, do with their property. That's their choices. The community garden, I thought, would be an ideal place because it's an organic garden. It's away from houses. It's kind of off, to the side, and I think it kind of goes along with the concept of what you're trying to do as far as, the garden being ecological or organic, just doing a positive thing for the environment.
Yeah, we also need the pollination, so.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest thing. I mean,
Yep.
that's what bees are doing. And again, I have a lot of flowers in my yard. I mean, a lot. And when I have a rose of Sharon that's probably 12 feet tall and, really huge, previous years was filled with honeybees. This year, I saw very few honeybees. I saw more bumblebees than I saw anything else. And you're not going to see yellow jackets going after a rose of Sharon because that's not what they do. I mean, wild bees are pollinators. Hornets and yellow jackets are angry bees. And I've been hit with a yellow jacket once when I was doing my beekeeping, and my arm blew up extremely large. I ended up going to the ER, and I was out of commission for a week. And the reason that happened is because hornets and yellow jackets are dirty. They live in the ground, they carry bacteria, and when that gets into your system, you have a negative effect. When I've been stung by honeybees, very little reaction. Again, they're not there to go after people. They're not there to be mean. They're just there to do their job.
So Fran, what are you thinking of for, like, number of hives and how big a hives?
I wouldn't go any further than 2. I mean, I always do things in 2 because you can compare things. I've had up to 6 hives at once, and it's a lot of work, and I don't want to do that.
What does 2 hives look like physically?
Well,
What are you putting them in? Whether they're a box is,
are you familiar at all? Or, okay, I
I've
can explain right from the beginning.
I only need to know what they're going,
They're going in a box.
physically when I walk in there, what
They're going in a wooden box.
dimensions.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
It's about, what is it, like,
It's about-
2 feet by 2 feet?
Yeah, I mean, your hive boxes are about this big, and they're about that tall, depending on if you get deeps or shallows. I always go with shallows. You can, on a successful year, your boxes, depending on what you put them on, as far as a stand, they could be about this tall.
Where would you propose they go?
I would propose that they wouldn't go anywhere where people are walking, as far as your walking paths or your bridges. I wouldn't want to put them next to the road because of exhaust and heat and visibility. I mean, I don't really want people to be nosy and start going over there, yay, what's going on? Not that people are gonna do that, but you never know.
So we have a tree line that goes along the brook, and then the garden plots are here. There's a bit of a space between the tree line and the plots. How close to where they collect nectar do they need to be?
Bees will
How
fly,
far travel?
bees can fly 2 to 3 up to 5 miles. There's no such thing as organic honey. No such thing whatsoever unless you're on an island in the middle of the Pacific.
Right,
and-
'cause they're going all over.
because they're visiting everything. As far as bees, traffic from bees, I mean, getting hit by a bee, if you're standing in front of the hive, they're gonna go around you, they're not aiming for you. If you stand face to face with the thing, obviously they're gonna get you. An ideal place, I think, probably would be over closer to where you've got your bat house.
I was just gonna say that, but, yeah, it would be better over right at
Yeah.
the house.
I mean, that's off to the side.
Right.
It doesn't bother the people that are working in their gardens. It doesn't bother the people that are walking on the paths. I don't really want to get tangled up with the poison ivy over there.
Yeah.
Because there is poison ivy and I prefer to stay away from that. I've never had to deal with a bear before, although a couple of years back we did have a bear come into the yard, the backyard, when he was out traveling around Litchfield. And he actually climbed up the oak tree. We've got some big oaks like this big. He actually climbed up the oak tree about 15 feet from my hives because I could see his marks. And he didn't touch the hives. I don't know if he got scared off or whatever, but didn't have to worry about that. I might consider putting a barrier around if I was to establish something over there. Because I don't know if the bears are traveling in that area or not. It's, to put the time and effort and all that, to have a bear come by and take something, plus you don't want to see the bees die. That's my main thing. I don't want to come and see $60,000 or $70,000 bees with no home, because then they've got to scurry.
When do you plan to, what was your thought as far as putting the hives in?
What do you mean?
Well,
Timeframe, right?
this, now, or wait till spring, or?
You have to wait till spring. The bees packages don't become available until, you would order them like in January or February to make sure that you're able to get them,
Okay,
depending on who you're purchasing from. I don't purchase mail order, I don't do it that way. I used to purchase from Alden down in Hudson, Alden the bee guy. I haven't purchased from him in a couple of years. The other people that I used to work with is Carlisle Honey down in Tingsboro. That's a big outfit. But what they do is they'll go down by a truck and they'll just pick up a whole truckload of all these bee packages that people want, and then people will go to the house or go to the business and purchase them. But to answer your question, the bees probably wouldn't be introduced to the hive until maybe the third week of April. That's when the bee packages usually come in, depending on weather as well. But I have no control as to, can you hold them at your house? I can't do it right now. You have to go get them.
Then
So usually,
You have to feed them, you have to feed them till flowers become available?
in the spring, you'll feed them a mixture of sugar water. And I usually put something called Hive Alive in it, which is also, it helps the bees, it helps them strengthen, and it's a natural product. But yes, you do have to feed them in the beginning. But you would be surprised the number of blooms and things that are coming available, whether it's the trees,
That's why dandelions.
dandelions, skunk cabbage, things like that.
Now, Diane did talk to Keith at Wilson Farms, and he said it wouldn't be a conflict if we had bees there. They have hives out there, it wouldn't be a conflict, he thought.
Yeah. No, I've seen their hives. I've been picking down there for the past month, in the fields, out in the fields.
now, does automobile fumes affect bees?
I haven't tried it. I haven't tried to gas out the bees or anything like that.
I
If
think
you're
he's saying
talking-
if cars are driving by.
Cars driving by on the
Well,
road.
no, what I'm thinking of is that when we have our fishing derby, okay,
Yeah.
now that we've changed locations, there's gonna be a lot of vehicles up there. So I'm wondering if that would,
Well, probably what I would do, what day or when do you do that?
usually we have it in May.
In May? What I would probably do is the night before, all the bees will go into the hives at night. That's where they stay. They don't come out until the next day. If I knew a day ahead of time, once they're in there, I can put a reducer or a blocker in there. That will keep the bees in there while all the activity's going on.
Half a day.
Just for half a day, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And that's
because
what-
people are concerned about the
Yeah.
bees too.
Pardon?
That'd be good in case people are concerned about the bees.
Yeah.
I have to run over to the budget
Yeah.
meeting, but Jason will take it from here. Thanks.
Now, I like honeybees, okay? But my concern with the community garden is that you've had them on your property, Wilson Farm has them on their farms. What they've done is you have been able to restrict the number of people that, come onto your property or on Wilson's property. With the community garden, the gate is open and anybody can walk in there. And one of my concerns, and you stated that honeybees are not aggressive, but one of my concerns is that if somebody does get stung from a honeybee or a bumblebee, whatever, and they have a reaction to it, what do we do then,
Well, honestly, I think that could happen at any point, whether you've got honeybees there or not. If they get stung by a wasp, you've got the same situation.
And I understand that, but here we purposely put bees in that area. So that,
I think it's a little bit common sense with people.
well, okay, there's no such thing as common sense anymore.
Well, there is, it's just that people don't seem to use it.
If people know that they're allergic, like I had a reaction once, so I would steer clear of them, and even if you didn't know, if you were hesitant, you would just steer clear of them.
Like I said, I'm all in favor of honeybees.
Aren't yellow jackets and wasps somewhat pollinators?
To an extent, that's not their job, though. Their job is, I don't even really know what their job is because they're angry.
Well, they're angry when you touch their
Yeah, they're angry in general.
habitat.
I mean, I've got plenty of,
Everything I read about the ground yellow jackets is that, yes, they are pollinators, but they actually should be removed from active gardening and walking paths. They are that dangerous and that serious. And it is recommended to remove them, so I wouldn't encourage them versus the honeybees.
no.
Right.
What about the honey? What happens to the, how much honey do they produce and what happens to the honey?
If they have a good year, I take the honey. I don't take all the honey. I leave them at least between 30 and 50 pounds of honey to get them over the winter. But there's no guarantee on how much honey you will get. This year, a lot of people are having problems because it was so dry. And a lot of the plants that normally would have produced flowers for them to pollinate didn't make it. A lot of the trees have lost their leaves. I don't know about you, but my lilacs have all dropped their leaves. So it all depends. It depends on if they have a good year, then there's surplus honey. If not, you leave them with what they can have.
Do you sell the honey?
I keep the honey for myself. I don't sell it.
Does that look like a good location for honeybees
I think so.
generally?
I think so. I mean, anybody can have honeybees. You can have honeybees on your balcony,
Yeah.
in an apartment if you wanted to.
But it's got open land next to it.
Yeah, it's open land, it's natural, it's got plenty of water, it's got
Water,
shade,
Right.
it's got variety. It's got the swamp down, or water area that you wanna call it, down back. I mean,
Yeah.
that's where I live. I've got conservation with water in the back where I am, and it's perfect.
What happens in the winter, okay, if you start them in this April and you have good success, are you gonna be able to maintain the bees? Or do you have to, I guess the question is, do you have to move them for the
No.
winter?
No, you don't move bees. I mean, I guess somebody could move the bees and put them back right where they were. But if you were to take and move a hive even 25 feet from where it's supposed to be,
Mhm.
they get confused because they know where they're supposed
Okay.
to go.
Specifically.
For the winter,
Yeah, if you put the hives in there, you're gonna be able to maintain them over the winter?
there's nothing that you're going to do to them over the winter. When you put them to bed in the fall, I'll put a sugar cake on there, on the top, and that's what they'll eat if they get through their honey stores. And they'll also eat that in the spring. You put the honey cake on, some people will wrap them up with a form of insulation to keep the hives warm and away from a, kind of like a windbreak.
Windbreaker, yeah.
And I'll usually put like a cement block or something on top. I probably even strap them, like with a, I'm not gonna call it a bungee strap, but you know those straps.
Okay.
But you
When
don't
do
go in and you don't, you
when do
never
you-
open the hive during the winter.
Sorry, when do you close down the hives? After the first frost or?
I would say a final close would be like the second week in November, because they're still active right now. They're not as active because there's nothing out there really for them to eat other than goldenrod, which is beautiful. The wild asters, all these wild flowers that you're seeing. But again, they're going into winter. You're getting your last group of bees that are stronger, and they don't want to eat everything in the hive. So kind of the amount of bees will drop, as will the size of your hive, because you want to make it smaller after you take out some of the honey. But it also makes it tighter for them to stay warm and not travel too far out of their cluster. But again, you don't open it up in the winter, because that's like us being in front of a fireplace and then going up and opening up the front door. It's like, poof,
Well,
it'll freeze them.
I obviously don't know how to take care of bees, so that's why I'm asking.
George, I'll go around the room. Anything?
No, I think if they put it over near a bad house, that'd be fine with me.
Probably needs a sign, something like that,
Yeah.
just so kids don't wander back there.
Hmm.
Joan, anything?
No, I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea.
Harry?
Well, if we decide that we need to go, and I think that there should be some kind, because it is town property, that we have a responsibility to notify.
It is not, it's not town property.
Okay,
That's a good point.
And we probably do have to ask Gary.
It is not town property.
I don't think that's a problem, but that, they should be made aware.
Who owns it?
Gary and Trust, next door where the organic farm is.
I thought that they got transferred, they didn't
No.
get
No,
transferred.
we have an easement on top of it and a lease.
Okay,
I don't think in that easement or lease document, there's anything specifically related to bees. It's mostly farming plots and trails and things like that. I don't think we would necessarily need to redo the lease by any stretch of the imagination, but I think we should probably at least get their permission, wouldn't you think?
Yes.
And that would just be a conversation with them, and I think you would have to have.
Well,
Just,
we could have it,
Do you,
we're the leasee, so we
Yeah.
probably wouldn't go to Gary and talk to them.
are you good with that? You wanna?
Yeah.
Okay.
well, even if, say that if this goes through, I still feel there should be some sign or something,
Yeah, so-
make people aware that there are bees there, okay? Because if you're gonna go through all this effort, and unfortunately, which I disagree with, common sense has gone out the window the last,
yeah, you don't need kids throwing rocks at the beehive.
no. And, people that are going up into the garden, I actually went there and I noticed that, there are kids' chairs there, so people bring their, children with them. And the biggest thing that concerns me is that anybody can go there. Kids, kid families can bring their children. you know, and they're working in their garden and not necessarily paying attention to the kids and so,
You'd be surprised how inactive it really is.
so my feeling.
Until we set up the wiffle ball,
Right. The pickleball.
wiffle ball,
Yeah. My feeling is that if we go through
right, Fred?
and we got the okay to do this and we wanna spend the time, there should be some kind of notification that there are bees there. It isn't to bring attention, but just to make people aware, okay?
Yeah, I think we can, if that gets put up, we can make sure a sign gets put up, there. Maybe at some point in time, we get a kiosk, you know, up somewhere in there with a little bit of information, but it's another kiosk to build that I have to build. Because Fred was retired from buildings, or you're retired from buildings, and George is also retired. Matt called you, never mind. Fred called me.
Matt called me Fred.
Because of the hat.
Mr. Croto, anything?
Because you're inseparable.
I don't have anything. I think it's a good idea to touch base with agrarian.
Yeah, I like the idea of the location,
Yeah.
and I'm definitely 100% behind.
So what do we do here? Do we make a motion? I mean, this is all gonna be, we don't own the property, so it's all gonna be contingent on permission of the property owner. Probably just also making sure that we got proper, you need a sign over there, just beware or something like that. I'm sure there's some
Well,
stalks
for the
out
amount of
there.
money that I'm gonna spend, there'll
Yeah.
definitely be a
15
sign.
bucks, yeah.
Probably want to have the conversation first with the owner and just make sure that you're both on the same page in terms of what's
That
going on.
sounds reasonable.
But it'd be good to do it this fall, right? Rather than let them.
She said April.
No, I would have the conversation now,
Yeah, but when would you put the bees
in the spring.
in the spring?
In the
Because
spring.
You don't have any to bring over?
No,
All right, so what we'll do now is, we'll table this, and Joan will go talk to the folks at the Dreamers Farm and see if there's permission. And then we'll pick it up, you know, in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there, and then like, what's your drop dead date on ordering bees? February? January?
I'd rather do it like in January or February, that way I'm guaranteed that I get them.
Okay. So it's October now, so we should be able to do that over the next
Yeah.
two meetings. All right, cool. Anybody else on this subject? All right, well,
All set.
thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Thank you.
We're gonna pivot to the community garden people, right? That's what Matt kind of whispered in my ear.
Hey, can you guys control the volume? Somebody watching on
I think it's me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put this.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I just, somebody complained about quality of
Yeah.
the mic.
Yeah, I just know we're down one. So
Okay.
if we just wanna like, we can move them to where it's talking, but. there's no-
Speak into that mic, and then we'll move the mic around.
I'm Denise McHugh. I live at 10 Evergreen Circle. I've been here probably 28 years. I'm one of the original farmers at
OG.
the community garden, now 3 years. I'm not one of the better ones, but I've been there and I know a little bit about it, so Diane asked me to answer any questions. I did volunteer my husband to make a kiosk
Oh,
for the
yeah.
spring. So we're not going to rely on anyone else, we're gonna just do it.
Okay, that sounds good. We have a kind of a standard design, or we'll take a look at that.
Yeah, Diane had approved one last year when we were talking about it with other folks.
So what are we doing? We're doing Q&A. Do you have anything for us? You want to give us an update?
Oh, sure, I did bring in some information from UNH about compost. It sounds like Ian's all over where he wants to move the compost pile to. Right now, we seem to have a passive composting going on rather than a more active composting. UNH talks about having 3 composting bins that can be made easily from some old wooden
Skipped.
Sure. And ba-
Pallets.
pallets, thank you. And you basically move your compost along, depending upon how active and how much it's composted. It talks about doing a 30-to-1 ratio of brown to green compost matter, and it spells that out in the handout I brought. Basically, brown is cardboard, leaves, less watery, versus the actual produce, which is the green or more watery. So we want to make sure that we keep that in mind as we just add to the compost pile. We want to keep it wet, we want to keep the temperature up, and we want to keep it aerated. What we want to make sure that we don't do is add diseased plants or produce to the compost pile, because that will definitely spread from garden to garden as we relegate the compost to the gardens, because if the temperature's not high enough, it won't actually kill the bacteria or bad stuff, fungi.
Cool. Anybody got any questions?
Well, are we talking,
I have a few.
we're talking about the 3-bin section, but then we also need a place to put all the vines and stuff we're pulling up this time of year. I thought Aiden was gonna, that's separate area, right?
Yeah, I actually just went there, before the meeting, and I just designated the area. It's on the left of the shed.
Okay.
There's like all these like snow stakes there, and then if you guys wanna move it, I can definitely
Is
move
that where
it.
the branches are or not? The branches
No,
on the
no.
other side?
So, time out, what's there now? What's to the left of the shed?
Like I just put like snow stakes, just
Oh,
two.
you
Okay,
just put them
all
out.
right, I was
Yeah,
like,
just
oh, what's
two.
going on here? You didn't file a ticket for that?
No, I did not.
Huh.
So, that's, how, what do you say to the left of the shed? General area, is it like 15, 20 feet from the
Yeah,
shed?
15, 20 feet, yeah.
Okay.
I would suggest, for the little I've read about, which is what you now have, is that we put it away from all the gardens and away from any place people are going to go into, because it can attract pests and unwelcome bees.
Nice.
Does it
What do you
smell
mean by-
also?
It can smell if you have too much wet. So I would almost put it back to the tree line, away from us and away from everyone.
Yeah.
But that's just my little reading I've done on it. By no means am I an expert.
My feeling on that is the farther away you put it from the gardens, the less people are gonna use it, potentially. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
At them, I think we have to bring our own waste home.
Are there gonna be any kind of restrictions in the compost pile as far as what goes in there?
I think you have to not use diseased plants. They should be pulled up as soon as they've been notified as diseased. You shouldn't put diseased produce on it.
Well, I mean,
But other
yes,
than that-
and things like, I think tomato plants don't do well in compost unless they're cut up or something.
No, you get, you know, the seeds will get over in there, they probably come up.
All right, so, I have a question. So, we're talking about a compost pile, and then we were also talking about, debris from cleanup. Are we not putting all of the, dead stuff from the end of season in this? What are we doing with that?
That's
My
what I-
understanding is it's one pile right now. We actually have two different one piles going on at the front of the garden area.
Biggest trillions, right?
So I would love to see it
When the budget
gone
comes,
into one
they
or the
gave
three
us
different
trillions.
bins.
Oh, okay, so
And
if we were,
away.
if we were to do, if we were to establish these bins, all the cleanup would go into the bins now.
Correct.
Perfect. Great.
Except for the diseased.
Yeah.
Brush, you get a lot of brush and tomato vines and all that stuff.
You can, but you really have to offset it with the leaves and the cardboard and everything
Yeah.
else.
I feel that the best area, like what you were saying, if you wanna keep it away from people but stay close, is almost in that, unfortunately, in that poison ivy area, up against the tree line,
And that's where I kind of put the,
right there.
yeah,
And if we went out there and even before the snow hits and maybe lay down some wood or cardboard boxes and maybe we could kill it. That keeps it away from everything and is close.
So there's currently a pile, you're talking next to the pile of.
Dirt.
There's a pile there, yeah.
Right near the blueberries.
Well, yeah.
No, it's, we're talking on the wood
Oh,
line.
It's where the arrow is right here.
Okay.
I'm just suggesting it. I don't know if it's the perfect spot. You guys know what you're doing, but
I would defer to you guys. I would suggest moving away from the blueberries, moving away from where people can see it in the front and where it's gonna attract animals, and push it back.
What's the size of this?
It's growing by the day.
what was that
It's
again?
probably, it's growing quickly. It's probably 4 by 4 by 4
Oh,
right now.
okay, yeah.
Yeah,
That's not
too
big.
bad.
Okay.
We've got the tractor, we can push it
Yeah.
where we need to, so.
Okay. Just as long as wherever we put it, it gets used, that's fine.
Yeah, I had a couple other things, I think, along George's line. I've been calling George Fred and Fred George, thank you. Maybe it would be helpful if you take a screenshot of the GIS or something like that. You guys, the garden people. the
GIS.
Screenshot of the map that you
Okay.
see on the screen here. And mark out what your plan is. And that, we might even be able, we've actually probably got some new shots there where you can actually see the plots and things like that. And maybe mark it out, because one of the things that, that personally I would like to do is someone that mows that all the time. There's piles all over the place. I think we need to get the piles organized and in one spot. Clean up, we don't want it to turn into a mess over there. We want it to be nice and clean. Maybe start moving those piles to a certain location and just like organize everything. And we have the tractor, we can pick stuff up and move it around. Last time I was mowing down there, I noticed that someone in one of the gardens had cleaned everything up and just like threw it in a pile. And then there's someone else cleaned something up and threw it in another pile. And that just leaves it to us to go pick that pile up, and we're just volunteers too, and go, move it somewhere. So I think if we somehow just like plot it out where things are gonna go, maybe next spring we can, move things around.
I'm sure we'd be happy with whatever you guys wanted.
And so, if he said he put it just fairly close to the shed, if we are using that center, plot, that's where we're gonna have the water, and it could be a walk-through. I don't think the smell would be that bad, do you know what I mean? Because there's different times of the year where you're gonna be dumping stuff in, and I don't think it's gonna be a constant, right in the bad state, right? So, I think we could live with a compost pile kind of close to the, if you put it there already. I think that's the fine spot,
Where the water
No.
tank is, near the water tank?
near the water tank.
Yeah.
Who's gonna turn this pile around? I mean, usually what you do with that, you kinda turn it over, No,
We'll
so-
just do it with a bucket on the tractor.
so we would do it then.
I think so. We'll go into mow or whatever, we can do
Okay.
that.
That'd be great.
I mean, because if you throw everything in there, which is good, and then just sits there,
Yeah.
that doesn't,
And Corey Finch likes to use his tractor as well. I'm sure he'd be happy to help out as well. I mean, it only needs to be turned like what, every
Couple of weeks.
couple weeks or something.
The other thing is for next spring is, I'm down there, a lot of us are down there a lot mowing and stuff like that. It looks good, really good down there. It's nice to see there's like, this year, how was the crop this year?
Tomatoes are great.
Yeah, tomatoes are crazy.
They've had some success with pumpkins. I know Mario had a nice pumpkin. I can't see enough into Corey's garden to actually see if he has pumpkins.
I saw there's a couple.
Okay.
Cantaloupe are good. Really good.
I didn't
Did-
get many, but they were wonderful, the few I got. Watermelon, I think, was iffy.
Zucchini was another one.
Yeah, zucchini, yellow squash.
Yeah.
Eggplants I got a lot of.
Do you think it would be possible over the winter just to help out with the maintenance, to just work together to come up with some guidelines? I know when I've mowed, I've run over hoses, I've run over stuff that I've had to jack up the tractor and get underneath there and pull things out. And so maybe if we can just come up with guidelines where, you know, everything kind of stays inside the fence. In the front, maybe like don't go out too far. Some people go out farther in front of the fence, and some people are short in front of the fence, so when we're driving, you know, it's like you're maneuvering around. And so maybe we can like just work together over the winter just to come up with some simple guidelines that I don't think will.
I think we have them. I think a little reminder would be helpful.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
You're okay with the green benches to give people a place to
I
sit?
don't have a problem with the green
No, I think
benches.
those are nice.
Yeah, we can move those, you know, like
Yeah.
when we mow, a lot of times we bring the bucket. It's the ones where the fences are 6 feet out and other
Yeah.
ones are 6 feet in.
We'll
That's the
tidy
problem.
that up.
So I missed the discussion, I don't know where.
No,
The wrap up?
So she just gave a quick overview, talked about compost piles, and we talked about where the location of the compost piles are gonna be. And then you came in, so that's where we're at.
All right.
I know that Diane wanted to talk about a date to close the plots for the winter. I think it's a little harder right now because we've had no frost, so it's late for us this year. It sounds like most gardens are closing them mid-October in general, but that actually may be a little late, a little early this year, just because we still have active produce going on.
Yeah, I think as long as it's out before the snow, so if we say maybe mid-November or end of November, I don't, there's not like a hard date for it. We just wanna make sure things are cleaned up, so it's not a total mess and it looks okay in the spring when all the snow goes away.
Probably the end of October, not November.
No, November.
November's pushing.
No.
Wait, I mean, what are you pushing it for? We just need it cleaned up.
So, do we have any teeth to this? So like, do we say November 15th, your plot needs to be cleaned up, and if your plot isn't cleaned up, don't get one next year? No, I don't mean to be mean, but yeah, are we going to have compliance? You know what I mean? Do we have to worry about it? Do you think it's gonna just happen?
I agree with George, that if whatever we decide as far as closing it down, it's a hard, you know, it is a confirmed date. And
Even if it's further along the line, you know, even if it's November 30th or something like that, it sounds like we just don't want them to
Just so we
be
make sure that it's-
abandoned.
You know, I think there was some that weren't cleaned up or weren't used or something this year, I don't know, but just so that we make sure that it gets cleaned up. And I'm sure everybody's, you know, going to clean up their plots, but, just in case we have somebody who doesn't. Or maybe we can cross that bridge when we get to it.
We all
Yeah,
did sign a contract originally that talked about dates. I don't remember what they were. I might have been the only one who actually signed it, because I had a pen on me.
I signed it too. Yeah.
I don't think it was the cleanup per se versus people saying they wanted a plot and then didn't follow through for different
Right, it's one
reasons.
spot that's like way
Oh,
off.
that's what it was, okay, that's what it was.
And that's hard to control.
I do have one other thing, that I'd like to bring up. So we are supplying the water down there, right, and we do have a fairly small pump that's, pumping up that tank. I know people are bringing in, their own pumps to water their garden, I think you have one.
Yep.
right? Should we say that, you know, you can use your own pump and hand water your vegetables, but no sprinkler systems? Because, you know, there was a gentleman that's using his own pump and a sprinkler system, you know, and it's a fan sprinkler. And I know it's watering his plants and everything, but it's not the most directed, source of water, and that does tax, you know, our pumping system. So, if we were to make a, you know, could we make a rule and have, you know, just no sprinklers? Using your hand pump is fine, I mean, you know, your own personal pump from the tank to your garden, I understand carrying watering cans is a
good. I mean, if we get up to 20 plus plots, right,
We can't hit, you know, then somebody's,
we
well, he's
wouldn't
got
be
a
able to keep
sprinkler,
up
why
with it.
can't I have a sprinkler? You know, we can't be, you know, we're not a waterworks.
Right now, we probably have 8 plots going actively.
I mean, at some point in time, we will be a full-fledged, you know, waterworks, but not right now.
We're gonna put the tower up next year. I had another one, and you guys can shoot me down if I, go along with it, but is there any, we are putting some funds into it. I mean, we're using conservation funds, or buying paint, we're, running hose, we're buying solar panels. Is there any appetite from the group to if we could figure out how to work on our end, to maybe everybody kicks in $20 a year or something like that, like a nominal fee, just to like cover some of our
I think it's
expenses?
reasonable. Everything I read was about $25, $30 per plot, and they were much smaller plots than what we have. I don't think anyone would mind, but I can't speak for the group. You may get more money though from donations if you just ask for stuff. That's
Yeah.
the other thing.
And then we have to figure out how we can take any donations or money and actually.
We're talking about that next. That's on the agenda tonight.
Money goes into the general, unless we have friends of the garden.
Well, I think the important question is just, we wouldn't offend people if we asked for a nominal fee, and then we
I can
kind of work
imagine.
out how we
Yeah.
might be able to take the money and have it dedicated to the garden.
I'll close this. Anything else from you?
Diane just wanted to talk about winterizing the tank and the pump, but by no means do I have any suggestions. or
Oh, yeah, with that,
education.
we'll take
Okay,
care of
good.
that.
Litchfield Public Water.
Thank you.
.com.
Thanks.
Anything else for her at all, from us? Hold on, anybody else here? Fred?
No.
All right, good to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So how did we wrap up the beehive discussion?
We tabled it because it's not our property, so Joan's gonna talk to Dreamers Farm,
Okay.
just to make sure they don't have an issue, and then she'll come back over the next month or two.
Okay.
And she wants to be able to order stuff by January, February, the latest, so as long as we clear it up by the end of December or the January meeting, we're good. Here, I'll flip that over back to you.
Yeah, there's 3 of them.
Go get my.
Reports.
Woo!
All right, so getting back to new business. So the next one we had is property mowing. So I think there's a couple of thoughts on that. One is the current tractor we're using the best tool for the job? We're putting a lot of use on that tractor. When we do other things with the tractor that are in more rugged terrain and stuff, we usually still have the mower deck down there and starts banging it up and stuff too. And it's just not an ideal. Now that we have all the properties looking nice, we'd like to be able to maintain them with a proper mower. So one of the things we're thinking about is getting a dedicated mower. Similar to what the town uses. Zero-turn mowers would be a lot easier for going around trees and all that sort of stuff that we're doing. So just wanted to open that up for discussion to see if folks think that's something we should pursue.
So, okay, you can get a lawn tractor type,
To get one of those zero-turn mowers, right? The ones with that.
okay.
We'd have to get a good one. We're logging a lot of hours mowing, a lot, hundreds of hours of mowing. And the tractor, I love the tractor, but it's not a mower.
Right.
It beats you up. big time, especially at Moore's Falls. It beats you up. There's no suspension in the thing. You're hitting stumps. The mower's parts of it are broken underneath it because it's not like meant to do it.
Commercial.
So if we were to go for a mower, we would go for like a real mower. I don't think we would go to Home Depot and, you know, get a 1999 John Deere, you know, special. And I did talk to the Rec Commission. The Rec Commission's in the same boat. There are properties that they're gonna be responsible to take care of. All the fields are mowed by a professional, but there's like around the pickleball courts, there's parts of the Dara Pond that aren't treated. So it might be, if everybody agrees that this is a direction to go in, it might be a thing where we can just split it up, split the,
So what's the general cost of something like that? 3,000?
no, it would be, no, you'd be talking
Yeah.
$7,000 mower or something, like a real mower.
So now when we mow with the tractor, do you have to take that off when you're doing something else? Mower part off?
Depends.
You're, yes and no, yes, I mean, it's not always taken off. Usually the mower is actually on there 90% of the time. We should be taking it off every time, but it's,
We
It's
took it
a
off when
pain.
we did the bridges, okay, because we
Yeah.
knew we were gonna be in rough terrain and all over the place.
It's a half hour, 45-minute task with 2 guys.
And so the tractor is like the jack of all trades and the master of none, you know what I mean? It's just big enough to help us, you know, do what we need to do, but it doesn't do anything great. But it does work. And, you know, the time that I've spent mowing with it, it's not the greatest mower. So, you know, I had to like triple cut and do some other stuff with it, so. And compared to the mower, I have a commercial walk behind that I mow my lawn with at home, and that is a much better mower. I mean, we wouldn't wanna walk behind for
No.
doing, but it does a better job of mowing than, you know, this tractor does.
Just a question, when you guys mow, I mean, you don't pick up the grass or
No.
anything, right? You just
No.
leave it there, right?
Right.
sometimes you have to mow multiple times, over multiple days on big time. George cut one day, spent 2 hours cutting one day, and then spent another 2 hours or whatever it was, cross-cutting it the next day.
So,
Why don't we look into, at least do some investigation and find out how much a mower would cost? That, you know, that would be the initial thing. And do we have the funds, even if we split it with recreation?
Not in our standard budget, but I mean, that might be something we can look at the conservation fund for, cause it's focused on those properties, right? So I mean, if you think of the properties we have the muster field, the bottom and the top field, we have Parker Park, we have the community garden, we have Moore's Falls, we're gonna have DeRochers now.
Yeah,
Then there's some other smaller areas like around the library that we hit, so there's, I mean, we probably
There's a
have
lot.
a good 7 acres or so that we're maintaining.
did Rex split out the John Bryant River access mowing?
I can't tell you that. I think they included it in the bid, but it's
Okay.
separated out as a separate cost item.
Be-
And that cost item came in at like 12, off the top of my head, like 12 grand last year, which is more than what a mower would cost.
Right, so that's where I was going, because the company that is mowing that doesn't want to mow it anymore, because it beats up their equipment too much, and it's not, something that they wanna do,
Which, the river access piece?
the river access piece. So, you know, and that's currently coming out of Rex budget, right? So, if it does get mowed by this new mower, either by us or by them, there could be savings from that line item put towards, you know, purchasing it. Just a thought.
how much does the recreation group use the tractor?
Not nearly as much as
Yeah,
we do.
Not too much. They do it for like the beach maintenance at their
Spring cleanup.
spring cleanup
And,
on the fields.
yeah,
Okay.
spreading clay and stuff for, infield mix
Yeah.
So like,
in the beginning of the season.
Raking the beach at Dara.
so we're basically using the tractor
75% of the time.
That's-
At least.
Yeah. I love the tractor. The tractor has allowed us to do things we never would have been able to do. It's just not a mower. When you're mowing, I use my personal tractor at Moore's Falls now, and it's beating the bejesus out of that one. Just because it's really difficult to get that up on the trailer. To get that thing up on the trailer, to drag it out there, it takes longer it adds like an hour to
Yeah.
the job. And if you have a smaller mower, we're able to just drive it up on a smaller trailer and haul it off. It's easier, safer, and faster. It's a better tool for the job.
But would a smaller mower last if we're using it?
I think we gotta get a good one.
Yeah,
well,
we
we
gotta
gotta
get a
get a-
commercial grade, commercial one,
We
not
gotta
not
get a
like a Home
commercial
Depot
one.
special.
Definitely. Needs a
So
commercial.
why don't we look at, do you wanna,
I'll talk with Rec, should be getting the bids back for their mowing in the next week or two. I'll talk to them, I'll get a price. We got a price for a mower that was like $6,000 or something like that when we were looking at the tractor, and then we decided to go in the tractor. And it was a Ferris, it was the same one the highway department has. The highway department also has an Exmark mower that's been sitting in there that's broken, and at one point in time, Kevin said, if you guys can fix it, you can have it. But fixing it was gonna be $3,500, and at the time, one of the spindles up front, that's like I think it's a $1,500 part alone.
Yeah.
That was an option, but,
High maintenance.
yeah.
well, maybe it is an option, because if it only costs even up to $4,000, it's still a heck of a lot cheaper than,
Except how old is it and what else is gonna go?
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wanna make sure we're focusing on the right equipment that'll last us for a long time.
all right, so.
All right, I'll talk to Rec, and then we can go from there. I mean, we have the money. We saved a lot on DeRocher property. We only ended up spending in the 400s out of our account. We make more in interest than what the mower would cost.
And we're gonna have a lot of money coming into the fund still too.
Oh, impact fees
No, current use.
of current use.
All right, so, we'll table that for now, investigate, let's look at what we potentially can have for mowers. Any other discussion on that before we move on? All right, next, item is a warrant article discussion for revolving fund. So this is coming up because we have, now that we have DeRocher's, we have, that we're getting, we're gonna be collecting money for, or at least the town's collecting money, right, for, McQuestion's piece and for Alvern's piece. We also have the property next to the river access that the river questions are paying for too, so. Diane actually was recommending us coming up with some sort of revolving fund where we can have the money, instead of going directly to the town, go into the revolving fund so we can apply that to the maintenance of those properties.
I don't know how that works, if that will work like that, I don't know.
I think it's something we need to investigate.
Yeah.
The Rec Commission has a revolving fund, and they take in, I believe, I could be misstating that, but they take in money from various different, maybe the sports leagues and
Yeah.
the Christmas in Litchfield and those types of things. So I know that a revolving fund that you can take money in. And I think the intention here is, like, specifically with the DeRocher property, it's built into the purchase and sales agreement that we have to like clean out those ditches every couple of years, and that's something that we need to get, the guy with the piece of equipment in there, that's probably gonna cost $1,000 every single time we do that.
Yeah, might have to rent an excavator or something for some of it, cause they gotta clean all the drainage and
Yeah.
everything.
So maybe if we can work it out where we're bringing in $1,000 from the McQueston farm for the rental of the river access from McQueston farm. Bringing in $1,000 from McQueston, that's gonna be renting the DeRocher property. There's Alvern that's using DeRocher property, and we've either gotta figure out to charge them or have
think
them
they're
do something in lieu
nonprofit.
of service and mow or something like that. So could be bringing in more than $2,000 a year, and in some cases, that's gotta go right back into the property. So we might be able to lower our maintenance line item and just use the money that we're actually generating to offset our cost, and we can essentially run it at.
Okay, on a revolving fund, what is there, an account that's specifically, assuming we can do this, that says it's for conservation?
Yeah, so the way that it would work, and we'd have to talk with either Karen White or Kim Kleiner, is that with the revolving fund, I think there would have to be a warrant article.
Right.
To
Set it up.
establish the revolving fund, would be on the warrant article, and it would say, put $1 in it. You know, we're gonna establish the revolving fund and put $1 in it. And then at least it'll be there, Harry, it'll be an account that we can put funds into. And so that's what I was thinking, I don't know a ton about this, but the bee people, if they each pay $20, we're getting $200 from them, it can go into the
You
revolving
mean
account.
the garden people?
And then, yeah, and everything will go into that account, and any donations that we get will go into that account.
So,
Yeah, that'd be nice if we could take donations, have a way to do that. I'm sure we
like,
can.
with McQueston, so the rental that they're paying the town would go into this revolving fund?
That's what we're
But
proposing.
somehow they pay
Okay.
the taxes on it though, too, right? They pay the taxes on, I forget how this works. They pay something to the town, but then they pay the taxes too, so I think it lowers.
Oh, they pay taxes?
If they're not a nonprofit, yeah, they have to pay taxes. So I think that comes off their rental or something like that, to check.
But, yeah, it's just something to look into. I mean, even if we don't necessarily can collect the rent from the farm leases and stuff, if we can get it from the community garden and have a way to be able to accept donations, like when we do the fishing derbies and stuff like that, I'm sure people would like to make some donations to it. And if we get that fund built up, then, you know, there will be a lot less we'll have to.
But this was the time of year to do that, if you're gonna have a warrant article,
Right.
get it ready, get it to the selectmen.
So Diane has been talking about this for a few months. I think she actually came up with the idea, so she's on vacation this week, but when she gets back, we'll have her do the research for us.
Yeah, so rec does have one, and it looks like they have like 26 grand in there right now, something like that. So we just have, I think it's, in our town bylaws, it looks like it allows us to have these and force uses just like we want to do it. So it's already an existing mechanism used by one committee, so I think all we have to do is form it.
Yep. I know pickleball has donated on several occasions, like $3,000 to rec, and it ends up going into that fund, and then they can use it for.
And then they vote, so the rec commission votes on it, just like we make motions and vote, and so we have to have a meeting in order to use the funds, but it looks straightforward.
So any other discussion on that? So we'll just follow up with Diane when she gets back and have her, I guess, kick off the discussions with who she needs to. Right, next, Route 3A cleanup.
Right back, Matt.
So we need to set up a date for the cleanup. Probably early November would be best before the weather gets too bad. Most of the vegetation will be dead by then. We should be able to see the garbage on the sides.
Poison ivy will be gone.
Yeah.
Poison ivy's never gone.
All right, what do we got for dates?
8/15, 1/8/15.
What
wanna do
was
a
that,
Saturday.
Joan?
If you wanna do a Saturday, it's November 1, 8, or 15.
So we're talking about dates for 3A cleanup. Do we wanna target November 8th? Hopefully the weather will-
I've gotta
Oh, I
go
won't
to
be here.
that,
I won't be here.
that conservation meeting.
That's
Uh,
November 1st.
That's the 3rd?
1st.
1st? Okay, 8th is good.
I will not be here on 8th.
Where are you gonna be?
Virginia.
What part?
Luray.
Okay.
In a
Yeah, so I
cave.
got something the following weekend, so
Yeah.
it sounds like, November 8th sound good for everybody?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I'm tied up that day.
Who's gonna
What?
drive the tractor?
What do you got going on, Harry?
Can we put it to the 15th?
I'm gone that weekend. So I think, majority, and we'll probably have to have like last year, we had to have a rain date, or we didn't even have a rain date, right? We all divided and
I
conquered.
think we did a
We
two-parter
did a
last time.
Two-part rain day.
There is a lot of, I mowed up to the river access and back. There's a lot more trash this year than there was last year.
Well, I mean, just the section that we don't handle, from Hillcrest to McQuestion Stand, there was trash all over the road. And even Hillcrest is,
Hillcrest always is
you know,
bad.
to the dump, you can understand it.
Yep.
But beyond it, there's a lot of stuff in there too.
Yep.
So what date are you going with?
The 8th,
Okay. Time? I'll post it.
9 o'clock, good?
My personal assistant says that that's a good date for me.
Did she get back to you already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. She's probably watching.
Aiden, can you make it?
Yes, I can.
Okay, then we'll,
All right, November 8th it is.
Do you still have a lot of bags, blue bags?
I don't know how the supply of bags is, we'll have to check on that.
yeah.
I think we're getting to the point where we can probably use another box, cause it's gonna be like probably a 25, 30 bag job, it sounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, any other discussion on that before we get into old business? Next is Dara Pond milfoil treatment. So George, you wanna give an update?
Sure.
Do you need this?
Sure.
Oh, good.
It's a long one.
Yeah.
I think we should meet here all the time.
Can we see that? Yeah, we can. So I put something out on What's Up Litchfield, probably like on a Wednesday or a Tuesday, say, could I have some volunteers on a Sunday morning? It was last Sunday. So it ended up being me and Judy Brennan were the two volunteers that did that. But when I showed up, there were 3 teenage boys that were fishing, and one guy was down there fly fishing. So the teenage boys ended up helping me. So I brought my kayak, and one of the jobs was to move the swans. So these were teenage boys. One guy went out and moved the swans. I said, make sure you put them far enough apart that they don't get tangled.
they ended up getting tangled. So the next kid went out to move them and they got tangled again, so I ended up moving them myself after I was done, but at least they helped, so.
They're good kids.
They're really good kids.
I fished with them.
Okay, and these kids, one lives in Litchfield, one is in Hudson, and the third one is from Lowell,
Yeah,
okay?
same ones.
okay.
Three amigos.
Yeah, really good kids. And so I convinced them, or they actually asked if they could help. So they didn't get in the water, but they were dragging stuff onto the beach, so that was good of them to help. And
It's good. I guess the rest of the volunteers were busy planning for the fall festival.
yeah, exactly. It is what it is. So the guy fly fishing did reach out to me afterwards via Facebook Messenger, and he's interested in helping do more future cleanups or helping with Dara Pond. So I might reach out to him, see if he wants to join Concom.
Okay.
All right,
Good.
so that was good. So here's Judy. So we used rakes with screens, and I lost count. It was somewhere between 16 and 20 wheelbarrow loads that we took out of there. And it's not just the dead weeds, but there's sticks and there's muck and there's
Yeah.
leaves.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to just make it clean again at the beach. So here's just a nice picture of the foliage with the two swans. When we were down there, some woman came down, a husband and wife, and I think they had a dog, and she was taking pictures of the swans, and she was so excited that there were swans on the pond. I had to break it to her.
Did you break it?
Yeah, I had to tell her that they were fake. But they do look pretty good. And so while we were doing the cleanup, there was like 5 or 6 geese came in from the southeast, I guess, and they were coming in, and all of a sudden they did a U-turn and took off the way they came. So they had to have seen the swans, and they flew away. So they are working. So my goal is to move them every 2 to 3 days, okay? So
Wow, that's a full-time
Shoot.
job.
it kind of is.
I can take Sunday.
You can do this Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I moved them today, all right?
I can do one too. I have a kayak and I can go out there.
So, moving them too much is better than not moving them enough. So anytime you feel like moving them, just move them. Do you know what I mean? So today, I went down and I worked for about an hour and a half, and my back's bothering me a little bit, so all I did was drag it out onto the sand. So I made some piles. It'll drain, and we can, shovel it into the wheelbarrow a little bit later on.
Where'd you take it? At,
I'm just putting it right next to all the rest of the junk that's next
on
to
the
the big
right
pine
hand?
tree.
Okay.
Okay, and so, also I'm rolling these big rocks out, as I find them. So you can see that the water is way down.
Yeah.
So when we put the dock in, the water came up to these posts, the very first posts.
Wow.
So it is quite low,
Yeah, we were only like 18 inches from the water to the top when we put it in, right?
something like that, yeah. So it is looking much better. So when we did the milfoil treatment, they also put in this muck away product, which is bacteria that eats the muck. That is helping as well. So the water is clearer at the beach area. I don't think we're gonna get amazing, progress with the actual visibility or the clarity of the whole pond as a whole, but there is less muck, and it's looking nicer down there.
All the milfoil looks like it's dead.
Yeah, so it's still visibly present, do you know what I mean? But it when you rake it, there's nothing to it, do you know what I mean? It's pretty much dead. But taking it out is good, as far as I'm concerned,
So
as much
the
as.
green on it was really just algae or something?
It's
not the
some
plant.
kind of slime that's on it, yeah. So that bright green, it's not bright, but it's green, and it's not chlorophyll, I don't think. So that was my update on Dara.
Well, actually, while we're on it, when should we plan on moving the dock, pulling the dock?
Probably, could we do it the day we do the 3A cleanup.
I think that makes sense.
After 3A cleanup, we do it November 8th. It won't take very long.
Yeah.
But I think that would be good.
Could I recommend taking that rock out when somebody's got a tractor down there?
Yeah,
The far one?
Yeah,
all of the rocks should come out, yes.
push them out
I
of
was
the way.
thinking about either that or, using my strap in my truck, I could just tow it out of there or something. But yeah, we need to get them out.
Yeah, if we're gonna have the tractor, would we use a tractor or just one of the trucks? To pull,
We can probably just use a truck.
yeah.
Or with a strap, we can move those.
Yeah.
And so, you see that, big rock on the other side of the, dock?
Yeah.
Kids were standing on that rock in the springtime to fish. So the
Wow.
water level was up to that rock,
Yeah,
in the springtime. Okay, yeah, and so every time I go down there, there is definitely people using it. And I think I wrote up a big write-up. So I was down there by myself, raking, and the kids had left, Judy had left. Some father brought down some kids from a softball tournament, and the two kids were right on top of me, watching me put the goop into the wheelbarrow, all right? And so there were like hellgrammites in there, and occasionally there'd be a tadpole, and we'd throw them back into the water, So I was giving this biology lesson to these kids, right? And I had to be careful putting it in so I wouldn't get them covered with mud. The one kid did get covered in mud, but, so the father is just sitting there watching me do that. Now, he could have helped with the wheelbarrow, nothing, no, but, so it was like babysitting for his kids for like a half an hour, but it was.
He had a rough week.
They were, yeah. At the end, I told him, I said, I do accept Venmo for babysitting. And he liked that, but, so I had a good time with the kids, so they learned what hellgrammites were and stuff like that, so. it was-
Tadpoles.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. Okay, so that's all I have on that.
Good. Moore's Falls sidewalk update.
I did send an email today, but I didn't hear anything back from Mr. Moreau, so I still have no news.
Oh, I might have a contact at Fish and Game, if we,
Mm.
yeah, so if you need me to reach out to Fish and Game, I just learned that I might have a contact.
Should we bring Reggie in again to talk about, updates on some of the other stuff we've been talking
Well,
about?
he won't-
idea.
He won't talk about the Corning Farm until the whole situation gets settled. I don't know if it is settled, but yeah, we probably could have him in.
We've got three things with them. Corning Farm, we've got the Talarico,
Talarico.
and then we've got the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And then he's got that project that he's floated.
Get a new boat project.
Yeah.
Who knows where that is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, is that project that he floated just a wishful thing?
It's very, very preliminary. I guess he has a year to make up his mind. I don't know.
Well, because did they buy that? Did he buy that?
No, not yet. He has a year to do
He's
things.
fishing,
He's fishing, yeah.
Pardon?
he's fishing.
Hmm. Yeah, well,
Alright, so maybe, he tends to be a lot more responsible when we ask him to come in, so.
I will not be here in the November meeting.
Skips the meetings, skips the 3A cleanup.
I don't, if I don't go to
Good help
this wedding,
is hard
I'll
to
be in
find.
trouble.
Anything else on the community garden, or do we beat that to
You
death?
beat it
I
to
think
death.
we beat that to death.
Alright, moving on to, other business, property checks and maintenance. George, you have anything?
I don't have anything, all I did was, the Dara stuff.
Yeah, well, that's all.
This month.
Joan, how about,
I went to the Lonely Fort Trail, it's
Oh,
looking
good.
good. Water was a little bit lower, but not as bad as like Dara looks. And there were a couple ducks way over. And the trail was good,
yeah, it's a nice trail, but very
Yeah,
low,
nice short.
very low maintenance.
yeah.
How about you, Aiden?
Oh, the trails are good.
What was that?
The trails are good. Yeah.
All of them?
Yeah, all of them. I went to all of them.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wait,
Oh,
where
nice.
was this?
We went to all
Oh,
of
all
every
the
trail.
trails.
When do you get up, at 5
Do-
o'clock in the morning?
Store the ticket in your phone.
Oh, okay,
So if you go to the town website
yeah,
and it's under forms
Permits and
somewhere,
forms.
we can send it out, but it's under
Permits and forms.
Online forms or something like
online
that?
forms. It's in
Okay.
one of the pull downs.
Yeah.
You'll see conservation recreation.
Website.
yeah.
And then when you click on that, do you have the town email set
Yes,
up
I do.
yet?
I just don't have the fob yet. Or the fob.
For the fire station.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
get with John when he gets back. from
Okay.
vacation.
But then when you do that, it gets logged into the system, and
Okay.
so we're keeping track of what we done. When we go to the budget committee or whomever, we can always go back and,
Okay.
yeah. Did you do Moore's Falls?
Not that one.
Okay.
But just all the others.
Well, I think I did go to Morris Falls at some point. Oh, yeah, because I took a picture of the river, really low at the river. And the trail was good.
Did you see any tires?
No, I went down from St. Francis. If you want to see tires, you have to go to church. 3A.
The trail down is due a mow, and I might go out there with my mower this weekend, and that'll probably be the last one. And there's a couple of, you guys last year took care of
Yeah.
some of the hangers.
Mhm.
There's probably a couple hangers that we gotta deal with.
Yeah.
Not big
shoe
trees,
mat?
that sumac that
Yeah,
was
sumac.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we hit it pretty hard last year.
That reminds me, I did go to the river access, and I just want you to be aware, there's a house near the river access that I understand that the airplane people were eyeing that. Not a good idea. That's
Oh,
all I have to say right now about that.
the radio-controlled airplane people went to rec, and they
Oh.
Yeah.
pitched a plan to put a landing strip just off of the river access, and that's where Equeston is currently farming.
Is that why he wanted to talk to you guys?
Yeah,
Um,
Harry actually talked to him, if you want to give a quick update.
Talk to who?
Matt.
So, I was,
Oh,
Could I just say that the questions don't own that property, we own that property.
Agreed,
I know.
that they were
Okay, so go
trying
ahead.
to.
I don't think they realize that.
No, they probably didn't.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
oh, anyway, I happened to go to McQuestion's and I forget the younger one's name,
Matt.
first name.
Matt.
Matt, is it
Yeah.
Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sitting in my car, and he came to me and he said, hey, you're in the Conservation Commission. I said, yeah. Can I ask you a question? Sure. And I said, so, what was the question? Well, he said, some people who have a flying club approached me and asked me if I would consider let them make a runway and a landing strip near where you guys had talked about. So Matt said, well, first of all, I don't own that property, I pay rent on it. Well, their comment was, oh, well, don't worry about the rent that you pay on it, we'll pay you to cover the rent, and you can give us the landing strip. Now, what he said.
Sublet.
Yeah, so what he said to him initially is, I'll have to get back to you. After he talked to me, he said, no problem, I know exactly what I'm gonna tell him. And the answer would be, no. Cause he doesn't own, you're right, he
And when I
doesn't
said-
own the property.
Let me correct myself, that we don't own any property, the town owns it, I didn't mean we own it, the town
Right.
owns it.
And they should have tried to come back to us.
Well,
Go ahead.
they thought that rec owned that land, so they went to rec and they pitched the, so they first came to us, right?
Right,
And wanted to use DeRocher. Then Diane said, oh, you should go to rec, and so they went to rec, and they found this land, and they saw that the town owned it, and so they thought rec controlled it. So they pitched a plan to rec, and rec said, well, you should probably talk to the farmer, and so that's why they went to talk to the farmer. And so, so they're trying their best to follow the right
And they also
protocols.
said, talk to the Board of Selectmen, but I would hope that the Board of Selectmen would talk to us before they gave any kind of
Yep.
permissions.
Right, but, so
Who
they're
knows?
trying to get all their ducks in a row as fast as possible. So,
Yep.
you know, they went to talk to the farmer, so, you know, they're trying to do the best. And then they would eventually have to come back to us because we own that land, right? So
Well,
they
Right.
would
the
have to
town
pitch,
owns it.
or the town owns it,
Yeah.
we control it or
Right.
whatever. So, so
And I was
they're,
thinking,
they're just trying to find any place.
the
they can
excellent
land.
place for them to go, and I don't mean to push them to another town, but Londonderry Continental Ball Fields, they use those fields for soccer in the fall. I go over there to walk the dog, there's never anybody over there,
Right.
it's a huge area.
Yeah, that's actually a good
Yeah.
idea. I don't know if
That's
they'd have
perfect for
restrictions
them.
against it, but that's nice too, because it's not along a
In the
main
summer,
road.
never anybody over
There's
there.
no houses
sometimes.
around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's where it is. So they're just getting bounced around at the moment.
You know, I'm just curious why they don't talk to Merrimack, you know, because.
Because
I
got
think they
one
don't
over
want, there's one over there already, they
There's
want
a
to come
couple.
over here.
I think they're competing clubs.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's a nice
okay.
area in
It's very
Concord.
I don't know.
Seems competitive.
You gonna do dog fights over the mayor?
I don't know.
But it was, you know, it was kind of strange, and when Matt came up to me, I said, oh, yes, we're definitely familiar with that.
And I think they've approached I think they also approached the town of Hudson.
Well, they were in Hudson, and then they got,
Oh, yeah, because I remember
so
there was
got
a
so
meeting
bad.
of the Board of Selectmen in Hudson, and there was a whole conversation about this and using, they had mentioned something about using, like Campbell, the property at Campbell High School or something, and Hudson people were like, well, okay, well, fine, it's in Litchfield. Hudson, so why? So I don't know.
So we can't direct them to Hudson.
Okay.
Londonderry, London, go to Londonderry.
Londonderry.
Okay, moving along.
Alright,
I'm all done.
Michael, anything for, property?
What's the other one? Stage Crossing.
I was just thinking that, you read my mind, because we need to get out there and walk
I
that
think we do need to get out there.
sooner than later.
I don't know if that's something we wanna do on
In
the day of
mass,
the cleanup, but,
in your Hunter Orange.
yeah.
Is there a special reason?
Because if you don't use it, if you don't
Well,
cross
yeah.
it in 20 years, you're gonna lose it.
It's adverse
Okay.
possession, so you don't want that. But we obviously own the property and.
Well, it's an easement.
Easement,
It's an
but we do need to check it periodically. just
Okay.
to make
And
sure that-
document it,
Or walk on it, at least to know
Okay.
that we.
All right.
can say we
have
own it.
that easement paper in your hand.
Stage Crossing is right behind the,
Library.
oh, that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that thing.
as I said, have the easement with you.
Yeah, so maybe we do a quick walkthrough when we do the,
Yeah,
Clean
you're
up.
making me miss all this stuff.
Well,
oh,
We
that's
kept
right.
that off the map.
it's off the map. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Jason, anything for property?
I'm just going through our work order tracker here, and let's see. The only major maintenance that's been done over the past few weeks is I mowed Stage Crossing in front. The muster field, I think we need to mow the muster field. I did the community garden. I think that's, oh, and the river access. So those have all been mowed. I think the upper muster field, I think we need to get to, Matt, at some point. I think, actually, I mowed it. I think we need to go around the outside with the brush hog.
Yeah,
We-
I think I'll have time on Sunday now that, my weekends are freeing up.
I can help you with that.
Okay,
This Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday.
Okay.
Good, let me just check my notes. Okay, I mowed the upper muster field, it was pretty high. We need to brush hog around the edges. Someone reported bees. that got stung.
Down by the picnic tables, I
Yeah.
guess. That's interesting about though, the hornets, that why you swell up because of they're in the dirt, which makes sense now.
Yeah, like the yellow jackets,
Yeah.
things, they get nasty. Yeah, bees are.
And it's been a dry year, so that helps.
Helps which way, less of
Helps
them
them
and more
feel
of them
their
Dig
nest.
into the soil.
further.
The last thing, Matt, is, for DeRocher, I'm hoping to go buy the wood this weekend to build the first kiosk.
Did I
Oh.
have
And that sign will go in the kiosk.
two, I think,
Oh, nice.
two of them. Two of them?
Are- Are you gonna go like Home Depot, Lowe's, or are you gonna go to Sear Lumber, or?
I was just gonna go to Home Depot,
Okay.
Lowe's, but I could go to Sear
Well, it
Lumber,
just-
get a better
Depends,
quality.
it is better quality.
I was thinking of 4x6s for the post going into the ground, just give a little more ruggedness, and it looked like the
The one I
one
sent
that you took at Bear Brook, and it looks very
Definitely.
similar to the one at the,
Beef
State
eats.
Forest.
That was a nice one at Pawtuckaway, that extension.
I think we do the cedar too, I mean, it's not,
Yeah.
I was pricing out cedar, it's like not, it'd be
You don't need that
$50
much
in
of it,
wood or
yeah.
something.
Um,
So would the funding for this come out of,
I think it comes from the
RRV
land fund,
yeah, that's what I
because
was
we,
thinking, 'cause it's-
when we made the
associated with that.
motion, all that stuff was included, but
we didn't spend as much as we.
not
we
even
didn't hit
close.
the upper end, yeah.
You didn't get the legal bill yet, did you?
Excuse me?
Did you get the legal bill for DeRoche's?
Not yet.
yeah, he sent us that,
That's the one at Pawtuckaway.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's similar to the one at the town forest.
Do they have a kit for those?
Oh, wow.
Oh, no,
Edging and
I haven't
Yeah.
seen one. They're simple to build,
Nice.
yeah. Just 2 posts, 2x4, 2x4.
Miter saw.
Like
Yeah.
this, right,
I don't think you need one.
Yes, I saw it.
I saw that.
We
Yeah.
got the angles.
Oh.
So. Anything else, Jason?
Nope.
Fred?
No, that's it.
All right, then moving on to member input. George, you have anything?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Hold on.
hopefully it's another slideshow.
Well, kind of.
Nice,
wait a
nice.
minute.
Graphics on these big,
Yeah, so if we go
Jumbotron.
back to this.
Oh,
right
this is
here.
right, I forgot about this.
So, I went off to, Francistown last week, or maybe it was the week before, and this guy gave a great talk, and I sent this link, via email today,
You're not
so.
gonna play the whole thing right now, right?
No.
It's only an hour and 9 minutes.
Yeah. So,
Get some popcorn.
it was kind of high level, all right, he didn't really, it was, and this place was packed, there was like 60 some odd people there.
Huh.
And, you know, I guess there's nothing going on in Francistown on a Wednesday night. But
Right,
I was
another-
very impressed with the turnout there, and everybody was pretty engaged.
what's it say along the bottom for what, what was the title of it?
Navigating the waters, ensuring resilient futures
Oh,
for
yeah.
the Hampshire lakes.
Oh, yeah.
So, it was pretty high level. One thing he did say, though, was when a pond's phosphorus level gets over 12 parts per million, that you're kind of in trouble. Dara is 25 parts per million. Okay, so we do have a phosphorus problem there. So I just thought that was interesting that when he said, things get ugly when it's 12 parts per million. So they have a couple ponds in town that they're monitoring, and they've got data on, and they're part of the VLAP program. So there's a voluntary lake monitoring program that the state has. I tried to sign us up, but they're not taking new ponds or lakes. So we really need to start, I keep on saying this, doing the sampling, but at
Yeah.
some point we have to really.
Because beyond the geese, you're probably getting runoff from fertilizer and stuff, for phosphorus.
Right, so it could be fertilizer, I keep on saying it could be the horse farm, it could be the septic systems on the or the yards, the fertilizer from yards,
Fertilizer,
there.
Or ducks and geese.
What?
Well, next you'll know better because geese are taking
Right,
a U-turn.
and now he also said during this presentation, that it's very hard to go back. So once the pond has reached a certain state, it takes, a lot of effort, or, it took a long time to get there, it's gonna take a long time to get better. So, Dara isn't going to become, pristine, like,
Newfoundland.
without some time and some effort.
And pool shock.
Yeah. Well, so there's also, he was
That was a
mentioning,
joke, that was a joke, just for the record.
so some of these lakes and ponds have phosphorus issues that are, in the sediment, right? So, and some of these lakes up in like, the Northwoods or something might have issues that were caused by deforestation way back when and pollution there. And so, there's not much, the damage has been done because of, things that happened 100 years ago or something like that. And I was talking to a woman sitting next to me that has an issue like this. She lives in Francistown, but they have a place in Maine, and they were gonna spend a whole bunch of money to dump alum in the pond. And what that does is it kind of locks in the phosphorus at the bottom of the lake, but they were gonna spend a lot of money to lock in the phosphorus at this one lake. So that's a potential thing. Now, mentioning erosion and runoff brings me to another point. So at Dara, when I was doing my raking, some kids came down and were digging. There's been a lot of erosion. We had a big storm like about a month ago or something maybe, and it poured really heavy, and so we had a lot of erosion going down that road. So there were kids digging in the washout, and when they were doing it by themselves, I wasn't gonna go kick them out of there, but then a parent, their father came down, and I said, okay, the kids can't be making this eroded area worse. I said, I don't care if they dig on the sand, but you can't be digging in this area that's gonna wash out again. And I was given some attitude saying that, well, it erodes every year, and they should be allowed to play there, and, someone's gonna come in here and fix it. And I go, yeah, I'm the guy who's gonna fix it. So, it ended up fine, and the kids moved, and, you know what I mean? But the erosion is an issue there going down that road, so we do have to fix that. I may even just go by hand, put a diverter at the top. Before, we're gonna get a solution at some point.
Yeah,
So one of my,
I'm gonna talk to somebody about that this weekend.
so one thing I'd like to suggest, if we do a diverter and put that water into that catch basin, we can get a phosphorus trap, right? And you know what those are. So you can get this thing that goes into the storm drain, and it will catch the phosphorus that enters in there. So they have these cartridges that you can do to put in. I haven't researched the price, but that's something we may want to look at. So if we could divert all the water coming from the top of the field area into the storm drain, and then catch whatever phosphorus we can, and then run it into some riprap, we could be good there.
Yes, it is.
So that was, I think that's all I had for my member input. So if you guys wanted to go watch this thing, he's very energetic speaker, very engaging. It was a good presentation. And so I'm glad I went, but Francistown is in the middle of nowhere. It
Is
took,
it right in downtown? In the
Yes.
Center of town?
yeah, there's a big old town hall there
Yeah.
with a barn-like structure, yeah, so it was good. I think that's it. Oh, and I did present to the rec commission to see about them paying for the swans. And Judy said there's money left over from the dock grant, and she was gonna check with AARP to see if they would pay for the swans out of that grant. And we might get another set.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If we get 2 sets up, we can move around, that'd be,
Yeah, yeah.
Two more
Yeah.
swans?
2 more swans. They're $125, and they're pretty good size, and they stand out pretty good.
they're obviously pretty realistic looking.
They are. They
Yeah, they are.
You seriously can't get them with like a battery, and then you have it on a longer string, and it kind of at least floats around.
Remote control.
Well,
You
so
could
the
invent
wind does, so the string is long enough that they do move with the wind, and they're very lightweight, so they don't, they stay tethered to wherever they are, but they do move around a Okay.
They probably only weigh like 3 pounds.
Hmm.
I mean,
Oh, they're
pretty light.
extremely light, yeah. Yeah, well, we could, we missed our opportunity for the radio control plane people, because, if we could, get a Red Baron plane to go in and, or maybe we get a radio control boat club if they do ever start landing on the pond.
We can get the alligator heads, they have the alligator heads.
Oh, I think that was alligator head was in the minutes.
All right, I'm done. I'm done.
Oh, that's funny.
I have two things. You done?
Yep.
Turkey season starts October 13th, so I will be sending a memo to the turkeys that are alongside the road to say, go, stand next to our house. But if you go out in the woods, just beware. All kinds of hunting season is starting now. Deer doesn't start till around Veterans Day, right?
No,
Or
deer,
arrow,
deer has already started,
For
right,
arrow?
Fred?
Oh,
Bow hunting has already started,
that's what I meant, bow.
yeah, started.
And then black powders.
Yes.
starts.
yeah.
And then, the other thing is, November 1st is the NHACC annual meeting. It's $60 a piece if anybody wants to go.
I'm going.
Well, you probably don't have to pay because you're a presenter
You're presenting?
Yep.
about the intern.
So where is this?
It's up in Pembroke Academy.
Okay,
You interested?
yeah, I'm interested.
Should I sign you up?
Yes, please, yeah.
Okay, November 1st, and go on the NHACC website. Oh, and you have to pick what topics you want to go to. You should do that sooner than later, because it fills up.
Okay, so it's NHACC?
New Hampshire Association of Conservation
Okay.
Commissions.
Did you-
Pembroke Academy, November
Did
1st.
you not get an email about that?
He might not have, because
Oh.
I don't know, you might have got, but just go on their
Yeah.
website, and
Okay, I didn't get that email, so.
NHACC,
Okay.
and then it has all the,
Training.
actually, you can register yourself, and then
Okay,
if you have trouble, let me know.
okay.
And that's all I have.
I just-
We can reimburse for that too.
Yeah, you
right?
get reimbursed, yeah.
So Aiden, I just sent you the email,
Okay,
Oh,
thank
good,
you.
good,
and it's got a register now button.
right.
Okay,
And then you should pick the topics. There's like three, I think the last session is outdoors, which is good. It's worth
Yeah, I'll
going
try to go to that as well, I haven't been to one.
If you have a beret, you might want to wear it. You'll fit in a little bit better.
Beret, are we French? Your favorite guy's not there this year.
Sorry.
Anything else, Joe?
No,
Aiden?
no,
Nothing. The other thing I had was just to go along with the interns project, where we have all the nice map of all the properties and the description and stuff now. We wanted to put in some posts with the little signs on them.
Yep.
We need to start talking about just like design for that. Like my preference would be like put it on a 4x6 post and then have a 5-inch sign or whatever that would do it, maybe 12-inch by 5-inch or whatever. And we can put whatever on there. I'm just not sure what the cost is for those signs.
They won't
and
be
stuff.
that expensive. I think the big sign that we put up, which is 24 by 36, was only like $100. So
Okay.
I think we could, those would be,
Maybe $30, $40.
yeah,
a piece.
$30 each.
So we'll have to go through, maybe that's a good thing to get towards the end of the year with the rest
Yep.
of our budget, get the post and.
We have all the text there, or we should have most of the text, so it would just be, we could design something pretty simply.
Yeah.
Actually, I just do it like in PowerPoint essentially. And then we can send it off to the print guy.
and how do you get a QR code to go with each?
How did I get what?
No, how do you get a separate QR code?
Oh, you can, so the mapping application is a website, it's got a URL. And then you can just go online and just QR code generator.
Oh.
And you can just plug in that URL and
Okay.
it'll create the QR code.
Alrighty.
Michael?
Well, actually, I have a question for you. How are things at the budget committee meeting? And
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
what are they, did
It
they
was,
scream at you or?
No, they were
things or
asking if
what's
we
going on?
looked into, doing, it was real brief, all I did was said we wanted an extra $300 for the fishing derby.
Okay.
There wasn't a lot of questions. Someone was asking if we, looked at getting, sponsorship for it and stuff, and I don't know, I mean, we're, Board of Selectmen supports it, so we'll see what they said. It's $300, so if we don't get it, we'll figure something else out, but I
So
figure we
John,
should
I
at
just
least try.
created a QR code, so for, it's, you know, seconds. You type in your URL and there you go. Okay?
Yep.
Do have two things. Litchfield State Forest. You'll recall we had the folks from the New Hampshire Wildlife Federation doing on the turtle project. Litchfield is ranked number 1 for the habitat.
As
on the state
usual.
forest. The New Hampshire Wildlife Federation received a grant from Eversource to get money to do this project. They're going to be starting, I think they're going to be starting up in October at some point. But this thing is going forward, and I just want to let you guys know, so.
Nice.
That's great. Do they have a specific location in the forest?
Yeah, I'm not sure with the specific location, but I know they have walked the forest with the biologist for Fish and Game, and he is very excited
That's
about
great.
putting this together, so.
It's probably near the, you know, that front where they had the log drop
Or
there.
Sex and
Yeah,
Sandy.
that, and they have a pond about a mile in, that might be a good spot.
Yeah, so that's happening. I also want to mention, so for you guys to know, so the Lower Merrimack Local River Advisory Committee, so the chair of that committee is from Litchfield. The vice chair, that's me, is from Litchfield. So we have sort of the, well, I don't want to say super majority, but we're kind of running things for the Lower Merrimack River right now.
Who's the chair?
Pete Stone.
Okay.
He lives in town. He's on the capital improvement committee. He's one of the citizens reps. But yeah, so we had our meeting last, I think it was last week, up in Nashua. And one of the things that was talked about by the committee was water testing. So I guess Merrimack does testing and submits to the state.
Yep.
Nashua does it. And
Is
I'm not sure
Hudson?
about Hudson.
Hudson?
I'm not sure about Hudson, because there was no Hudson there, but, I don't know if we wanna, as the Conservation Commission, look into doing something like that. And, cause I know that the upper, Merrimack River Advisory Committee, which is the, up above Manchester, it's Hooksett and Concord, all that. They do water testing extensively. I know Michelle Trombley does it for that organization, looking at E. coli and things of that nature. The Sauhegan does it very frequently. They are very involved. Actually, they're gonna be coming to our next meeting to talk about that and how to do that.
Here?
No, Limerick.
No, at the
At the-
Lower Merrimack
Oh, okay.
meeting in Nashua.
Yep, cool.
So I raise it out here because I talked to Pete the other night, and so if we want to get involved in it, I think that would be a good opportunity to do that. Maybe looking at, taking samples from the Merrimack at Morse Falls, maybe taking samples from, and, the enabling legislation for the river advisory committees, is very broad. So you're looking at, tributaries as well. So Nessun-Keg may be a possibility, Chase Brook, Watts Brook, see what the water is, and get that to the state and get some data and
Now,
start collecting.
I asked you this before, but do you have to be out in the middle of the rivers to get a clean sample? So many feet, like a foot deep, or can you do it from the shore? Kevin Lynch and I used to do it. We'd go out in a canoe.
I know the folks in Merrimack, I don't know if it's Merrimack or Nashua, but I think it's Greeley Park. They go down to Greeley Park, and I think they go down to the boat launch down there, and they take the water samples there.
They don't do it by boat.
I don't know.
You don't
that.
have to.
I don't think so,
No.
no,
You don't
You
have
put it
to-
on
Is
almost
there,
like a
like,
selfie stick and,
yeah.
Did they have a recommendation for like how many sample points you should have? Like, I mean, we got what,
Yeah.
miles worth of riverfront or whatever.
I mean, I think the Merrimack takes like 3 or 4 samples, I
Okay.
think.
It's online.
I think that is.
If you go, I'd have to Google it, but I did have the address at one point in time where you can see the sample locations and you can see the results. And it's usually like every couple of weeks. Like when we opened up the river access, we were curious on the water quality, and there was like 3 or 4 spots along the Merrimack that the Merrimack side gets samples for. One up by their boat launch and then by the Sauhegan, so there was a few spots on there. And it's all, it might be on the Sauhegan watershed website, but it's there somewhere.
They actually have their own advisory committee too, so.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
We
You
could
think
make it,
George has got it already.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be, I don't think it has anything complicated, and like I said.
But then you have to get the
behind
samples
St. Francis, the
somewhere.
boat launch,
Yeah.
maybe.
Whatever,
George's,
yeah,
I don't know what
The-
else we
that
do.
might have a
Do you know who runs the samples?
Yeah, that's the question.
Someone at the state, I don't know who it is specifically, but I suspect when we have the gentleman from Sauhegan come at the next
Or
meeting, he's gonna provide.
can you take it to the water treatment plants anymore?
So we can.
Okay.
I talked to the guy at the water treatment plant a couple of months ago.
Manchester?
Yep, and he said, no problem, we can handle the samples. I then, at that point in time, we wanted to test for phosphorus, and they don't test for phosphorus up there. It's only the E. coli, it's bacteria-related things. So we can bring samples up there, and they'll give us the results. But it's not gonna be testing for everything that we wanted to test for, at least at DARA. But the testing along Nessenkeg and things like that, you know, you'd probably be looking at the E. coli and, you know, other bacteria that's,
But we could
harmful
get
for
that as
swimming.
well out of Darrow too, though.
Just so you know,
Yeah.
can do that for sure.
like PFAS and stuff like that, that's gonna be a lot more, that's costly to do
Yeah.
that type of testing.
Well,
But
we know
I
that's
think if we
there.
can make it simple, I mean, you know, the E. coli stuff that, you know.
Did you have it, George? You brought up the website
Yeah.
a second ago.
So-
He has samples.
Okay.
They do E. coli there, right? And E.
You know, one of
coli
my
and
neighbors
pH.
actually works at the Manchester facility. I can see if we maybe bring him into the next meeting to talk to us.
Who does?
One of my neighbors.
Okay.
And so, they do this connectivity testing, and so one thing I did learn at the presentation I went to is the connectivity test, the more pollution you have in the water, the more it conducts electricity. So they doing the connectivity testing.
Interesting.
So that can give them and he says, and he says salt is, a big issue. So, the salt on the roads and whatnot like that, so that gets washed into the water. And, so he says he's so good at it now, based upon connectivity, he can tell you all kinds of different stuff. But so, that's what this connectivity test is here. So they have connectivity, E. coli, and it looks like they do some pH and some other stuff. And this is an overall one, it does have Manchester, Lowell, I don't think it has Nashua here, so there might be another site that has, the more specific data points you were talking about.
Yeah, I'm
This-
on the Sauhegan site,
Yeah,
and they just published theirs as a PDF. And they are testing for the, like E. coli, things that relate to, E. coli, dissolved oxygen, and pH. Primarily for swimming. And for a point of disinterest, everybody, Upper Sauhegan, let's see,
it's up on the screen.
Beaverbrook, Babusick Brook, Merrimack River upstream of the Sauhegan, Merrimack River downstream of the Sauhegan, Wasserman Park, which is in the kind of the Sauhegan, and Horseshoe Pond. Yep. Boom.
Nice.
Faster than I am.
I know how to search for things.
Yeah.
So there's that, and this doesn't, I mean, this is not, this is something to think about, but, if you have any thoughts of what you'd like to see, you know, we're trying to figure out right now, because the Lower Merrimack kind of is in a, we had a chair and then he left, and now it's kind of coming back again a little bit. There was I think it was the Nashua Regional Planning Commission had done a study of the Merrimack River or something a while back. I think you may recall. They wanted comments and stuff like that. And there was a lot of stuff in that report that was set out, you know, what things that can be done to protect the river, or to, you know, things that people have an interest in the river. One of those, some of that stuff was like education outreach, some things like protecting natural resources, a bunch of different stuff. So we're just trying to figure out where we would like to go as a committee in terms of education, if it's education, if it's, you know, water testing. I think water testing was sort of, I think everyone's kind of got on board on, because I think that's kind of important. So, because other towns are doing it, and so it's.
Yeah, if we could,
How about like some like the bittersweet on the, or any
Yeah,
sort of like,
Yeah.
invasive.
I think erosion control and stuff.
Right,
Mhm.
so that's something maybe we can talk about.
We had kind of had a long-term goal here to maybe look at ARM funding from the state, mitigation funding,
Right,
to maybe shore up the Musterfield shoreline,
Okay.
you know, to kind of protect that from erosion.
sure.
But at one time, we talked to Lou Karen. I talked to the people at the state about it, and they said you need an engineering design. I talked to Lou Karen, this is probably 2-3 years ago, and he said, yeah, he can help us, but it just, you know, just never got back to each other. But that's something like long-term that would be good.
Yeah, okay.
Next big flood, that Musterfield front
Yeah, could
part
be,
is gonna be
Yeah,
gone.
we might lose the access road.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to let you guys know that, and, you know, I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring in input from, you know, other conservation commissions, from the other towns. The lady that actually is from Merrimack is on the Conservation Commission, who sits on the Lower Merrimack Advisory Committee, so she's pretty good, she has a lot of good knowledge. That's all I have.
All right, thanks, Michael. Jason?
The only thing I have is, and I don't know if I brought it up last month, but we got the sign installed at the Musterfield. So if you go down there in the kiosk, the sign is there, there's numbers all over the map, it's good, it looks really good. All the historic information is on that sign, and you can scan a QR code to get more information. But the site that we have developed isn't like fully populated yet. It's all there. We just got to fill in some more text and add some more photos, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Fred?
Nothing.
Nothing, all right. Approval of meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to,
So we have September 4th and August 15th to do. That special meeting was August 15th. On a Friday, I think it was. Which one are you doing first?
we should do the special meeting, right?
Oh, then you mean because.
That was non-public though, right?
No, it was public, the one about, we just had.
You had to authorize me to
Right.
sign
Right.
for the,
For a single payment.
yeah, I reviewed those. I think I sent you some comments, but, let's see.
Matt's,
Yeah, he's like.
I didn't have anything on it.
looks okay to me.
Motion to accept the
I'll second it.
August 15th minutes. make that motion.
Jason made the motion, Harry seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody object? Abstain? All right, motion carries. We got 6-0-0. Right, and then the minutes from the October meeting?
September 4th, you mean?
September, sorry.
I have one little correction. On the last page, motion to spend up to $150 for the purchase of a couple of swan decoys and a floating alligator head.
What's it,
And a floating-
what's it say?
Shit, alligator head?
He did mention that.
How did that slip in?
Yeah, but he did say that, because you were
Did say that.
In the motion, emotion.
So,
Okay.
can we, well, I guess we
If you
voted
said,
for it.
did you
so-
say that?
I did say it.
All right, we'll leave it.
He quoted it.
He did say it.
Okay. They were out of
It's on
alligator heads
order.
that time.
Back ordered, yeah.
Backward.
All right,
That's all I had.
anybody, sorry, Joan, do you have anything
No,
else?
no.
Anybody else have any, comments? All right, I make a motion to accept the, September 4th meeting minutes.
I'll second it.
All right, any, discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
I can't vote.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining?
Aye.
2 abstains, so, motion carries 4-0-2. All right, next meeting, November 6th. And Joan, you won't be here, right?
Correct.
Wow.
If I don't show up for that wedding, I'll be in
Oh,
July,
no,
so.
I'm just thinking it's November already.
All right, there's no one here for public input. We have no need for going, non-public, so we can make a move to adjourn if everybody's up for that.
So moved.
What? Oh.
Somebody needs to make a motion.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second?
Michael seconds. We have to do a roll call.
No,
Just
no.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, we're officially done. Thank you, Litchfield.
0-0
Oh,
in the Red Sox
To go to-
game.
Is it?
To go to.
They had that game last night.
Yeah,
that-
Pembroke, yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,